Hey, Heartland family. My name is Rob. I'm part of the creative team here at Heartland. Our team has the honor and the privilege of putting together these weekend experiences every single Saturday and Sunday. And we can't wait to see you in person again, but it's just been the honor of our lives to be able to serve you and the kingdom this way. We're going to have some great teaching from Eric today and some worship, but before we get to that, a couple of our staff had some things they wanted to share with you.
Hey Heartland, I just wanted to say that I love you guys. I miss you so much. It has been a weird and crazy season, not being able to be together on Sundays. Jeremiah and I were just saying how much we miss going through the mall and saying hi to everybody, and we can't wait for just to be able to get back together with everybody and celebrate and worship and just see everybody on a regular basis. But man, it has been so cool, all the things that God has been doing in the midst of all of this stuff, and what he's doing through Heartland and all of the different things that you guys have just been rallying around. And so I'm just so incredibly proud to be a part of this church, and love you guys and miss you all. See you soon.
Hey Heartland, I miss you guys like crazy, but I am just so proud to be part of a church who continues to be generous and serve others in this community. I'm praying for you, and I cannot wait to be together again.
Hi everybody, I'm Bob Lovell on the Heartland staff, and I'm praying God's choicest blessing on you and your family.
Hi, I'm Angela, and I'm an elder here at Heartland, and I'm sending you and your family many blessings.
Hey there, Heartland. Really miss all of you. Praying for all of you. Looking forward to seeing you soon.
Hi, Heartland. I miss you. It is so good to be online every single weekend with you, and I can't wait to be able to see you guys face to face again.
Hey Heartland, it's Meredith from the communications team. I just wanted to say that I'm praying for you every day, and we can't wait to worship together again in person soon. Be blessed.
Hey Heartland, we really miss having you all in the building. I know you miss being here, so we thought we'd take a minute and show you some of the things that are happening with the empty building.
Hey guys, while you're gone, we're just taking some time to paint the building and make everything look nice for you when you come back.
Hello Heartland, here cleaning carpet. Missing you guys a lot, just trying to get the building cleaned up. Can't wait to have you back.
Oh, hi, Ireland. It's good to see y'all. It'll be nice to see you again. We've just been here working on the building, as some of my colleagues say, loving on the building, and I can't wait to see you all soon.
Hey everybody, like you, I miss all being in the same place where we can say hi to each other, but so thankful that in the midst of all this, we can still be together like this and worship together thanks to our amazing worship team and the great teaching that we're getting from Eric Parks and Steve Carter. See you soon.
Hey, what's up, Heartland? Miss you guys so much. It's been weird not getting to hang out with you guys on the weekends for these last few weeks, but I love you guys. I can't wait to be back in person and see y'all. Hope you're doing great.
Hey Heartland, want to let you know as a staff member, we love you guys. We're praying for you. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. And all you production volunteers, I'm looking forward to seeing you as soon as we can.
Hey Heartland, this is Earl Kelly, and I wanted to encourage you with this. You are loved. Okay, stay safe. God bless. Stay connected.
Hey Heartland family, just want you to know that we love you. We care about you, and I just can't wait to see you again. So hope you're all doing well.
Hey Heartland, stay safe. We'll see you soon. And a special shout out to my Celebrate Recovery family.
Hey Heartland, I just want to say that I miss you. I've been praying for all of you guys, and I cannot wait till we can be together again. See you soon.
Looks like someone repaired these shoes.
Of course, we're in a thrift shop.
They've been resold. We miss you at Share Stuff.
Hey Heartland, I sure do miss you guys. I love you a bunch, and I can't wait to see you again.
Hi Heartland family, this is Sandy. Just wanted to tell you I'm praying for you every day for joy in your life, and don't forget, God loves you so much.
Hello Heartland, this is Sarah from Launch. I am so excited for when the day comes that we'll be able to see each other in person, but until then, know that I am praying for you, that we love you, and that we can't wait to see you again.
Hey Heartland, TJ here. Can't wait to see you soon. The sooner the better.
Heartland, we really do miss you. We miss seeing you, being around each other, worshiping together, and we know in the very near future that we're gonna get to do that again together, to be in the same space, worshiping in person together. But until then, we just want you to know that we love you and we're thinking about you and we're here for you. Now, over the last few months, I've had the honor of partnering with an organization called Barna. And Barna's been working on a survey that helps churches in this season find out, like, how are their people really doing? And they've extended this to us at Heartland so that we can use. And I'm asking you if you'd take a minute and take this survey. It's really just for us to know how you're really doing, how stuff's going in your family, so that we can respond both in the kinds of messages and services we provide. And it's going to be really simple. At the very end of the service, you're going to need your cell phone. Steve is going to tell you how you can really quickly, really easily download this 20-question assessment, take it from your phone, and send it right to us. Would you take a minute at the end of the service? Don't dip out too soon at the end of the service to take this survey, because the reality is we really do care about you. We want to be sure that in this season, when things are the way they are, which is somewhat strange, that we're all being cared for. This is what the church does. This is why Steve's message a few weeks ago was so impactful, the idea that we one another. And this is just another way that we can one another and make sure you're doing well. So thanks in advance for doing this. Love you guys.
Welcome to Heartland Online. Steve Carter here, and as you just saw, you are deeply missed, and you matter to the staff of Heartland. We know that our job as leaders and pastors and servants of the local church is really to one another. And this whole kind of COVID season has made it a little bit more difficult for us to do this. But we're still finding ways to be creative and intentional. And I just want to share a few ways in which we, as Heartland, can continue to be a blessing to Rockford and beyond. And did you know that this past week we gave out 1,158 more pounds of food to the Rock River Valley Food Pantry? And I love that, because you guys are just rising up and looking for ways to serve one another. And I want you to know we're going to continue with this food drive because you're all in. I love that. But we're this kind of week, we're going to actually be blessing Empower Boone. We're going to empower Boone, and it's formerly known as the Boone County Food Pantry. And we're also going to be blessing Rock House Kids. And I want you to know that we are open for collecting 7 days a week, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and on Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is what Empower Boone needs. They need canned foods. They need diapers. They need pet foods. They need household goods like dish soap, body soap, laundry detergent, shampoo, anything that you can think of. And so if you're at the store this week, would you consider maybe just getting one more can or a couple more things and being able to drop it off? Rock House Kids, they're putting together sack lunches for kids in our area. And this is what they're looking for: individual cereal cups, fruit cups, Capri Suns, fruit snacks, granola bars, cheese sandwich crackers, peanut butter sandwich crackers, and miscellaneous treats, like Rice Krispie treats, or maybe like a little bag of like some chocolate chip cookies. But please, if you're at the store, this is an amazing way to even disciple your kids and teach them how to love one another. Because sometimes kids just take it for granted that they have lunches provided by us. And now we can say, we get to one another. I want to also let you know about Veterans Drop-In Center. For us, we have a huge heart for our veterans in our community. And many veterans in need have been less able to receive assistance due to the requirement that they need to wear a mask. So this is what we did. Because of your generosity, we were able to give the Veterans Drop-In Center a case of masks so that those in need could have a mask, be given a mask, and still receive help. And we also made a financial contribution to the Veterans Drop-In Center to help them purchase more food and toiletries so that they can best serve the veterans in need in our community. And like the New Testament says, is that we're like supposed to bless one another. And this is what we're doing, Heartland, because of your generosity. You might have heard of the Uncover Project. And this is this whole idea is that we build up an inventory of underwear so that we can help bring and help those in the Rockford area. As a result of this project, we have been able to supply multiple local organizations with underwear this past week to fill their shelves and help them as they serve those in need during this unique day and time. I want you to know that we have volunteers that are serving with the Emergency Operations Center. I mean, these are just amazing things that are happening at the church that we're a part of. This past Saturday, we assisted the Northern Illinois Food Bank and helped at the Emergency Operations Center collection site. And we helped distribute 62,000 pounds of food to over 1,160 households. And over 150 volunteers came out to help with this distribution. Another way that we're trying to help is letter writing. And Launch, our children's ministry here at Heartland, is partnering with families and kids to love on the residents of our local assisted living and care facilities by sending them notes and cards, drawings, and anything else that will bring a smile to their faces. We know that for many who have family in these assisted living and care facilities, they're unable to go and see their family members. We just don't want our friends to feel alone. And so we're writing these letters. And if you or your child would like to be involved, all you need to do is email this email address, launchkids@heartland.cc, to receive one of the residents' names so you can personalize your note. And then you can drop off your letters, cards, and drawings at Heartland Community Church. Now, we are also making mass donations. We have already given away over 1,000 KN95 masks, but we still have some more masks available to meet needs in Rockford. If you are on the front lines, first of all, thank you. If you are on the front lines or have a family member who is on the front lines, please contact the main office to arrange getting a mask. And I don't know about you, but this makes me want to just take a moment and just pray for our healthcare workers. Friends, if you are or know a healthcare worker that would like prayer, we invite you. We actually opened up this email address because we want to invite you to email your prayer request to us at prayer4a healthcareworker@heartland.cc. We have a team ready. We have a team ready to pray and handle these prayer requests. So please send those in. And again, you heard last week about Night to Remember. Because of your generosity and the way that you responded, we have sponsored 300 Night to Remember special guests, and they will receive gift baskets yet this spring. So exciting. And friends, this church wouldn't exist without people like you. People who've rolled up their sleeves all these years, people who have shared their story, shared the gifts that God has given to them, and have lived generous lives. And if Heartland's your church, or over the last few months you've just been blessed by the ministry here at Heartland, and you want to help contribute and tithe and give a gift so that this work can continue to be done in Rockford and beyond, I want to let you know that there are a few ways that you can consider to give. The first is that you can just text. And you can text Heartland CC to the number 77977 to give via text. Or you can go on the app and you can download the Heartland CC app in your app store for a quick and convenient and safe way to give electronically. And it doesn't take that much time. Really easy. Or you can go on to our website and give there. Friends, for my family, we just give regularly, and it's just automated. It just comes out once a month, And it's just so easy. It keeps our giving consistent. And the way that I look at it is God has always been faithful to me, and I always want to be faithful back to him. We're going to move into a time of worship. There's this beautiful song, More to Come. And as we sing the song, would you just take a moment, maybe to sing, maybe just to continue to think about ways in which God has been faithful to you, and ways in which you can be faithful back to him.
Down the walls of Jericho. You're the God who gives the miracle. We believe. You're the God who parts the ocean wide, just to bring us closer to your side. The God who brings the dead to life, we believe. God, how great you are, great things you have done. For everything we've seen, there is more to come. Every victory, every battle won. For everything we've seen, there is more to come. We are confident in all your ways, 'cause we know you never make mistakes. God, to fill us with a greater faith, we believe. Oh, we believe, yeah. God, how great you are, great things you have done. For everything we've seen, there is more to come. Every victory, every battle won. For everything we've seen, there is more to come. All of our trust in, all of our future in the God who never fails. All of our faith in, all of our strength in, all of our future in the God who never fails. All of our hope in, all of our trust in, all of our future in the God who never fails. All of our faith in, all of our strength in, all of our future in the God who never fails. All of our hope in,
Hey, good morning, Heartland. I'm so glad that you're with us this morning and that we can worship together. It's good to be together. Even if we have to do it this way, I'm grateful. You know, in this season that has changed how we gather, I think it's changed a ton about all of our lives. Anybody else feel like life has changed a ton for you? Yeah, Chrissy and I were talking, that's my wife, we were talking about like how we have all these new roles. Like things have changed so much. First, we feel like we're both full-time sweatsuit models. Anybody else? Yeah. Don't be judgy because all of you right now watching this, you're wearing sweats. What I want you to do, in fact, is if you have a little bit of courage, take out your phone, take a selfie of you and your family watching this service in your sweatsuit or robes and post it. Post it. Tag Heartland. Let people know this is how we roll. This is how we get ready for church. Chris and I feel like we're full-time sweatsuit models. I feel like I'm a gardener for the first time in my life because I look forward to going out and doing yard work like I've never looked forward to it, just to get out of the basement where I work most days. And then, one of the things that we've become are teachers. Like we're our kids' educators. And let me say, if you're a professional educator, one, I am sorry. I didn't know that my children were what they are. I'm so sorry, and I'm so grateful. Thank you for what you do for our children. And then Chrissy aren't just the teachers. We've become, the principals. We're vice principal, and I'm the vice principal. She's the head principal. She's made that very, very, very clear. But either way, if I were giving ourselves a grade, we're probably getting a D+ at best, right? Like we were teaching our kids and failing miserably at math, right? And this is what Harry said. How much of this do you think you'll use in life?
0.
You don't think you'll use math at all in life?
Well, I thought you meant this exact lesson.
Oh, yeah, you don't know how you'll use this lesson in life?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let me say this. If you are leading your life in such a way that you never use math, congratulations, you are my dog Theo. Because you and I, we use applied math like every single day. This is what Galileo says about mathematics. He says the great book of nature can be read only by those who know the language in which it's written. And this language is mathematics. You see, math provides us with the eyes to recognize all of these hidden patterns of life. You don't believe me? Well, the truth is that math will tell you it keeps a jumbo jet in the air. Math, it explains how we can see and hear a football game on TV, which I cannot wait to see a real live football game on TV. Anybody else? Math allows us to predict the weather. It helps us understand the behavior of the stock market. And math, like it's behind microwave ovens and telephone cables and children's toys, pacemakers, automobiles, computers, all of these things, they operate through mathematical principles. You see, math provides us with eyes to recognize and describe these hidden patterns, these patterns that they do exist in the physical, biological, and social worlds. And so it is with these things, so it is with God. You see, with God, there is this undisputable logic, like a pattern, almost mathematic, that we can apply in our faith, that if we understand these patterns well. These are like God-size equations that apply to our lives. And we're going to be talking about math, God-size math today. Now, if you have your Bibles, you can open them up. We're going to be looking at a story that some of you will be familiar with. And you're familiar with it for two reasons. Either you grew up in church or you're my age and you had to watch Charlton Heston play Moses every single year. Yeah? We're looking at the story of Moses. Now, I want to give us some background on this guy named Moses so that we're all sort of up to speed. So here's the story. Moses is found in the book of Exodus. Now, that's in the Old Testament, right at the very beginning of your Bibles. When Moses was born, he was born while Hebrews were slaves in Egypt. Now, Pharaoh was afraid of them because he thought they might take over his country. They were getting so big. So he ordered that all the Hebrew baby boys be killed at birth so that they wouldn't grow up and fight against them. So to save Moses, who was one of these little baby boys, his mother had a plan. She was going to hide him in a basket down by the side of the river Nile. Moses had an older sister. Her name was Miriam. She went down and watched over that basket until Pharaoh's daughter came to the river to wash. She found Moses in that basket, and then Miriam, his sister, came and told Pharaoh's daughter that she knew a woman who could nurse the baby. This was Moses' actual mom. Pharaoh's daughter took him back, and Moses lived with her as though he was her son. Moses grew up as an Egyptian prince, but he learned he was a Hebrew, never forgot it. And one day, the Bible tells us that Moses lost his temper, and he killed an Egyptian who was beating a Hebrew slave to death, had to run away to another land. So, years pass. Moses becomes a shepherd. And this is where we're picking up the story. It's 40 years later. Moses was a shepherd, not a prince. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever done something in your life so long that you thought to yourself, wow, I don't think anything will ever change, right? Have you ever been there? Like, this feels like it's never going to end. I was thinking about Moses' story. 40 years. Remember, he was a prince. He came from the lap of luxury. He found himself out in the desert tending sheep for 40 years. And I wonder how many times he said to himself, wow, what a waste. I used to be a prince. Not anymore. I used to be something. Not anymore. I was important. Not anymore. You ever looked at your surroundings and thought, how in the world did I get here? You ever looked at your life and go, how did it end up this way? And then followed it up with, how could God ever use this, me? Because I'm just you fill in the blank. Look, if you've ever felt this, one, you're in good company. I'm pretty sure Moses felt this way too. And if you've ever felt this message today, it's for you. So, Exodus chapter 1, verse 3. It says this. One day, Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro. And by the way, might I point out, to add insult to injury, he's working for his father-in-law. Look, I have a son-in-law. I love him. I can tell you that if he had to work for me, he'd be like, really? My father-in-law? So, pick back up. He led the flock far into the wilderness, came to Sinai, the mountain of God. There, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from the middle of a bush. Moses stared in amazement. Though the bush was engulfed in flames, it didn't burn up. This is amazing, Moses said to himself. Why isn't this bush burning up? I must go see it. So now remember, Moses has been with sheep. So he sees this bush, it's on fire, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go check it out. When he goes over to the bush starts to speak to him. Yeah, the bush tells him to take his shoes off, and then the Bible tells us that when the bush starts talking to him, Moses is terrified. You think? Well, he's terrified for a couple of reasons. One, he's out in the middle of nowhere, and now he has a burning bush, and now the bush is talking to him. And he's thinking to himself one of two things. Well, either this bush is really talking to me, which is terrifying, or I've lost my mind, which is terrifying, right? He's like, I have lost my mind. This is what 40 years of being in the desert with sheep does to a man. Bible says that through the bush, God continues to speak to him. Bible says, the Lord tells him, I've certainly seen the oppression of my people in Egypt, and I've heard their cries of distress. because of their harsh slave drivers. Yes, I'm aware of their suffering. So I've come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians and lead them out of Egypt. So remember, Moses is a nobody. He was a somebody, but now for 40 years, which is a really long time, he's a nobody. I can imagine Moses, right? Just stop for a second and play this out, not like it's a story you saw on a movie screen, but like he's this real person, like if it were you. I mean, I see him looking around thinking, okay, one, why are you telling me this, right? Mr. Burning Bush. I'm talking to a burning bush, but I've been in the desert way too long. I gotta go. And then the bush talks again. But this time it gets even crazier because it says, oh, by the way, I've seen it. And I need you, Mr. Nobody, to go do something about it. You ever had a moment where you looked around and you hope nobody's looking? Because I don't know, you're picking your nose in the car, or did something gross, or tripped and fell. You ever had one of those moments? I feel like here's Moses in the middle of the desert, and God says, I see my people. I want you to do something about it. I can almost see him with his shoes off looking around going, I hope nobody asked me about this. But he still talks back to the bush. And he says, look, who am I to appear before Pharaoh? Me. Who am I? Great, you've seen my people, but who am I to lead the people out of Egypt? I don't know if you got the telegram, but I've been a shepherd for 40 years. That's a nobody. He says, look, if I go to the people of Israel and I tell them, the God of your ancestors has sent me, they're going to ask me, okay, well, what's his name? What am I going to tell him? I imagine him playing the whole thing out, right? Where he says, well, I was out with some sheep. I was in the middle of the desert. It was really, really hot. Really, really hot. Ever been to a desert that's really, really hot? And then there was this bush and it caught on fire and the bush started talking to me. Yeah, a bush. I know, right? He argues with God because he's like, look, I can't do this. This is crazy. He says, I can't do what you're asking me to do. In Exodus chapter 4, he's arguing, saying, what if they don't believe me or listen to me? What if they say the Lord never appeared to you? Then the Lord asked him, he said, what's in your hand? A shepherd's staff, Moses replied. Now this is a stick that I picked up in the middle of nowhere with my son Graham on a camping trip. And we keep it around because we spent like the whole 2 days just like carving it. It was just like one of these cool things where he and I carved it. We talked at nights. But this would probably be similar to what Moses had in his hand when God says, listen, that stick, that's all you need. I want you to trust me. Now think about it. Moses has to be thinking, you want me to go to the most powerful man in the world, in a place that wants me dead, and tell them that you, God, who spoke to me through a burning bush that maybe wasn't burning, I mean, I can't hardly explain that. You want me to ask him to release my people, and you want me to tell him to do that because of the stick in my hand. Because see, if I'm Moses, I'm saying, sure, I'll go do it, fine, but could I have a tank? How about a rocket? An army? But a stick? A stick, God? And it's in this moment, right here, that we see a God-sized equation beginning to form. An equation that applies to you and me. Part one of the equation, whatever you have. You know what God wanted to show Moses? Same thing he wants to show you. That all you need, you already have. The very thing that Moses would need to fulfill his calling, it was already in his hands before God ever showed up in that burning bush. It was that staff. It was the stick. Now this is what you need to know. If you fast forward, and I'm kind of giving the story away, that stick was never again referred to as a stick. Throughout the rest of Moses' life, he carried that staff with him. And it was forever referred to as the staff of God. Throughout the rest of his life, you know this, like every single miracle that he performed, it was done with the raising of his hands with that stick. With the stick, Moses struck the Nile River. He turns it to blood. With that stick, he brought a plague of frogs out of the water. With the stick, he struck the dust and turned it into gnats. He stretched it towards heaven, bringing down fire, thunder, hail. He brought the plague of locusts, divided the Red Sea, struck a rock with it and got water. And then he held it high in the air, and his warriors prevailed in battle. See, the staff of God. But, that's only the first part of the equation. You have to have the addition. And that's the second part of the equation. Plus the power of God. See, this is what's huge. It was Moses' willingness to surrender what he had to God's power, to take what he already had, that brought it to life. See, it's the equation. Whatever you have plus God's power will always equal enough. See, we see this all over the Bible. People who have something in their hands, they surrender it to God and say, God, you have it. He adds his power to it and it equals enough, right? Like think about it. Hannah held a small child in her hand, but when she gave him to God, he became what? A great prophet. Ruth had a stalk of grain. She surrendered it to God. God uses it to sustain her and her family's life, lead her by his providence to be included in the lineage of Jesus. Samson, in his hand is a jawbone of a donkey. We know what he does with it. David, a sling, slayed a mighty enemy that terrorized his people. All the widow had was enough food for one more meal for her and her son, but God used it to feed her family and the prophet throughout famine. And in the New Testament, all the little boy had was a sack lunch. But Jesus used it to feed 5,000. See, this is the equation. And it's used throughout Scripture all the time. Whatever I have, when I surrender it and add God's power, it always equals enough. Always. And so, Heartland, I'm asking you this question, like two questions. First, what do you have? Like, what do you have in your hand? Now listen, this is key. Oftentimes, the things that you're holding on to, they might seem very ordinary, something that God could not use. But regardless of how you see it, what do you have? Because here's the truth. Every single one of you that are listening to my voice, you have something that God can use for his glory and to advance his kingdom. And let me be clear, that's not just a couple of you. All of us, we all have something. You all have gifts and talents and abilities, resources that are in your hands right now. 1 Corinthians 12, it talks about how God has given each one of you gifts. And look, you might be like Moses. You might not even realize you have something in your hand. Moses didn't. He carried that thing around for years. You may just need to recognize what you have like Moses did. But listen, it's not until God asked him the question, what's in your hand, that he realized that he had something God could use. Do you think Moses ever had any idea that that run-of-the-mill shepherd's staff would become the staff of God? Of course he didn't. And that leads to the second question, Heartland. Will you give what you have to God? Remember the equation. What you have plus God's power. That sort of infers that you'll release it to him. That's when it equals enough. See, what you have doesn't accomplish kingdom work without the power of God. See, without the addition of God's power for Moses, that stick, it just stays a stick. But the minute he was willing to give it to him, that's when it all started to happen. Listen, I don't know what you have in your hand, but you have something. And my guess is, for so many of you, it has been there the whole time, long before today. And it may not have seemed very valuable or even useful, but that is what's so cool about this God-sized equation, right? It doesn't have to look huge. I was reminded of this just this week. I have a good friend that I work with. His name is Keith. And he actually has been helping me think through some ideas about how do we do a better job advancing the kingdom. Now, Keith is a data genius. You'd look at what he does with his day job, like understanding and analyzing data, and on the surface, you might think, well, yeah, that's a really good skill to have in the marketplace. People might pay a lot of money for that, but I'm not sure if that's a kingdom skill. And yet, Keith has stepped in to use his skill actually to help us here at Heartland begin to understand how do we do a better job reaching a world that is very digitized, as we all know now, that is also hungry for the gospel. Keith has a skill set that sometimes someone might look at and say, yeah, that's not a church skill set. Like, you can't teach with that. You can't lead kids with that. But the truth is, what I'm watching is as this guy just sort of takes this skill and says, God, you can have it. I'm watching God do something with it and begin to transform lives. See, every one of us has something. It might be your brain or your voice, your guitar, your pen, your leadership, your creative communication, your discipline, your money, your hammer, a kind word, your compassion, your listening ear, your talents, your skills. I don't know what it is for you, but I know that God wants to use what's in your hand. And it's funny, because oftentimes, I think we all do this. We'll look around and we'll see other people with skills and we'll make comments like, well, if I had what they had in their hand, I could do something awesome for God. Come on. You've said that. I've said it. I've looked at other gifted people and thought, well, if I could speak as well as them, or if I had that kind of leadership chops, or if I could write like that, I get that, but here's the truth. God isn't asking you what your neighbor has. He's asking, what do you have? He's asking me to give my gift, even if it seems insignificant. Look, I don't know where you see yourself in this equation. Or maybe you don't see what you have, but you have something. And this is what I'm telling you. You can get off the sidelines and you can do amazing things for God. But if, and only if, you're willing to give it to Him. No more excuses. No more sitting on the sidelines. No more saying, oh, I'm just wasted, couldn't use me, can't use this gift. No more. It's simple. It might be that you need God to help reveal it to you in the same way that Moses needed it revealed to him. But either way, a simple prayer of, God, use me this day is the start. God, use me this day. And then when He prompts you, do it. God-sized equation. This is what God wants to do with us, Heartland. And I'm asking, will you give Him what you have?
With every breath, with every word I speak, with every step, with every heartbeat, Jesus left before you only, my whole life, all for your glory. it be for you only, my whole life, all for your glory. My life is in your hands, I trust it all to you. My dreams and all my plans, I trust it all. Wherever I'm changed, I'll never be the same because of your love. Wherever I'm changed, I'll never be the same because of your love, because of you, Jesus. Whoa, because of you, Jesus. Whoa, for all my days, God, you are my God. I give you all, my heart is open wide. Jesus, let it be for you only, my whole life, all for your glory, all for your glory. Trust it all to you. My dreams and all my plans, I trust it all. Wherever I'm changed, I'll never be the same because of your love. Wherever I'm changed, I'll never be the same because of your love, because of you, Jesus. Whoa, because of you, Jesus. Everything you are, all I need, I'm forever in love with you, forever in love with you. Everything you are, all I need, I am forever in love with you, forever in love with you. Everything you are, all I need, I am forever in love with you, forever in love with you. Everything you are, all I need, I'm forever in love with you. My life is in your hands, I trust it all to you. My dreams and all my plans, I trust it all. Forever I'm changed, I'll never be the same because of your love. Forever I'm changed, I'll never be the same because of your love, because of you, Jesus. Whoa, because of you, Jesus. Whoa.
Well, Heartland, that was just such a powerful service. And I love Eric's words. I mean, this whole concept of kingdom math, it matters. And for us, we feel like we have some amazing tools in our hand to serve you better. But we want to be sure. We want to be sure that what we're dreaming, what we're feeling and sensing is actually true to the aches and your specific needs. So here's the deal. Like Eric mentioned, Barna has put together this amazing, really quick 20-question kind of survey that will give us insights on how to love you well, how to serve you well. This is going to inform what we teach on. This is going to inform kind of how we pastor. This is going to inform decisions that we make. So please, would you just take a moment? I know it's going to be really easy just to kind of like opt out and go, but like this would actually help me. This would help Eric. This would help TJ. This would help our church. So all you need to do is, would you think about texting WVRH. I don't know what it stands for. I'm gonna say it stands for like West Virginia Rocks Heartland. I don't know. That doesn't really work. What WVRH to 90888, and this will allow you to start the assessment. So please, just take your phone out. WVRH West Virginia Rocks Heartland to 90888, or you can like turn your camera on, and we're gonna put this QR code. This is like into the future if you've ever done QR codes, and you could like literally scan the QR code on your phone, and the app will literally come up, the survey will literally come up, and all of a sudden you can begin right there. But friends, God is with us, God is for us, God loves us, and we get to do this together. So help us help you. Help us love you. Help us serve you better. Do this survey. And I pray that this week, as you go through this week, that you would experience what God has placed in your hand, that you would find ways to let Him use you and work in and through you. Have a blessed week. We'll see you next weekend. Grace and peace.
Always